You're listening to the audio production of The Heart Answers by Colleen Coble, published by Thomas Nelson and read by Devon O'Day.
For my parents, George and Peggy Rhodes, who have always believed I could do anything, thanks for always being there for me. 1. March 1867. Fort Phil Kearny, Wyoming Territory. "You're what?" Jessica DuBois raised her normally well-modulated voice to a near shriek. A lady never raises her voice, dear. Her mother blotted a few crumbs of toast and jam from her lips and rose to her feet. "Your Uncle Samuel is alone with 3 young children who need a mother. You and I need a home, and Samuel has graciously offered us one. I haven't wanted to worry you, but I really was at my wit's end when I learned there would be so little money for us to live on." "But what about Boston?" Jessica jumped to her feet and nearly tripped over her blue wool gown. She yanked at it. How could she be so clumsy? "Papa has only been dead a little over 2 months. How could you even think about marrying another man so quickly? What would Papa say?" Her mother cupped Jessica's cheek. "He would be glad you and I were provided for. Now I really must pack. The troop leaves in 2 days, and I promised Samuel we would get to Fort Bridger as soon as we could." Jessica watched as her mother gathered her skirt in her hand and swished from the kitchen. Fort Bridger. She wanted the bright lights of Boston, concerts, social life, and teas with her friends. What friends? She shrugged the thought away. Her mother couldn't do this to her. She didn't want to be buried in some backwater ever again. She had had all she could stand of soldiers and dust and months-old news and humiliation. She was desperate to get away from the stares of censure. Unable to remain still, she walked to the front window and looked out on Fort Phil Kearny's snow-covered parade ground. The March sunshine was beginning to melt some of the snow, but the incessant wind still poked icy fingers into everything. A few soldiers bent into the gale as they hurried to the warmth of the sutler's store across the way. She would be glad to get out of this place. She didn't want to run into Rand Campbell or Isaac Little ever again. Both men had eventually thrown her over for other women, and she hated the pity in their wives' eyes whenever they met. Emmy Little, in particular, irritated her beyond all reason. Her eyes widened as she thought about the situation. Why couldn't she go to Boston without her mother? She could stay with her aunt, as distasteful as that might be. She hurried across the hall and interrupted her mother's packing. "I'm going to stay with Aunt Penelope." Her mother sighed and turned to face her. "I'm sorry, dear, but that just is not possible." "Why not?" Jessica's throat tightened as she swallowed. She had to get out of here. Her mother bit her lip. "There just isn't enough money to send you back to Boston. I'm afraid your father left us quite destitute." She put her hand to her mouth. "Perhaps by spring I can save enough from your father's military pension to purchase a stage ticket." "I can't go to Fort Bridger, Mama. I just can't." She felt near panic at the thought of continuing to live in this desert, of continuing to face her ruined life here. Her mother put out a placating hand. "I'm sure it won't be for long, darling. And Samuel says Fort Bridger is very pleasant. Lovely mountains, clear streams, and no dangerous natives. The only Indians he has seen since he arrived are friendly Shoshone. Please try to make the best of it." Jessica pressed her lips together at her mother's implacable tone, then left her to pack. At least she'd be away from this fort, these people. She remembered the last time she had seen Uncle Samuel and his family. His children had teased her unmercifully, especially Miriam. She had poked fun at Jessica for being adopted. She flinched at the painful memories, the nightmares that had plagued her for years. She would never forget the years of cold and hunger in the small shanty with her brother Jasper. One cold December night, her mother had gone out partying and never returned. The police had come and taken Jasper and her away to an orphanage. She'd never seen her brother or her mother again. Then her adoptive parents
Sample complete. Ready to continue?